Hey guys, welcome to a very special review here on the channel. Today we are celebrating my 3rd year anniversary here on YouTube. Yes, that is right. For those of you that are unaware of what I do here on my anniversary, it is that I talk about Cloverfield movies. The first review that I ever did here on the channel was for the Cloverfield Paradox, and since then I have reviewed every other Cloverfield movie on this day, February 6th, and today is no exception. But, however, there are no more Cloverfield movies to talk about, so why not talk about the movies that were almost Cloverfield films? So today, we're going to be talking about Overlord. Overlord was released in 2018 and was directed by Julius Avery and stars Jovan, Pilou, Asbaek, and Mathilde, Ollivier. Overlord follows the story of a group of American soldiers crossing over Normandy during D-Day that find themselves over on German lines as they have to fight their way out of a mysterious lab where the Nazis are performing experiments. Guys, when Overlord originally came out, I didn't see this movie. I know there was a lot of people that I know that really enjoyed this film when it was originally released, and sadly the film didn't make that much money at the box office, only barely making its budget back. But I know from a lot of people that say that this was a very entertaining and very surprising film for them, and I'm glad for that. I'm sad that I didn't see this movie back when it originally released. I just really wasn't interested in any of the trailers that I saw, and also because of the poor reception of the Cloverfield Paradox, even though I still kind of enjoyed that film more than most people, I kind of fell out of just interest for any movies that were connected to Cloverfield or were initially going to be a Cloverfield film. But the reviews for this movie surprised me, and people just talking about it, and so I wanted to talk about it today. And overall, guys, Overlord is a really entertaining and fun film, but I kind of want to do something a little bit different. I know I usually talk about my positives first. I want to get my negatives out of the way because I think they are really quick. And, I mean, we're all here to talk about the good and awesome stuff that is in Overlord. First off, I want to say that pretty much all the characters in this are pretty stock and bland. I remembered nobody's name. I couldn't tell you anything about any of the characters. They were just kind of there. They were basic, and I mean, they at least got you through the story. And the main character in particular, I have a problem with. My friend that I talked to right before I watched this basically said that this main character is pretty inept and makes really stupid decisions throughout the entire story. And I can pretty much agree. I think my friend said that it's like that commercial where the teens are deciding to go run into the barn that's full of chainsaws instead of going to the open car. Yeah, stuff like that happens in this movie, and it just makes the character so frustrating, and some of the moments that should be extremely tense just frustrating. However, that's pretty much my negatives with this story. The rest I find so enthralling and so fun, and it's just a really big blast of a film with such violent deaths, a lot of gore, and just some good effects that are going on here. I love the image in particular that's in the trailer of the one German character with his face basically eating away. And the horror moments of this story are also really well done for the most part. There's some really intense stuff, such as when our main character first goes into this German base and starts walking through it and sees all the disgusting, creepy experiments that are going on here. It was kind of like watching a video game, like a horror video game. And that made it really entertaining to go through kind of this, like, horror show almost. And that was kind of my favorite stuff with it. When it became just a straight up kind of horror thriller, I was really invested with what was going on, and the action overall was extremely entertaining. The opening scene of the movie when they're flying over Normandy and they parachute down, that stuff was enthralling to watch, and especially the way it was filmed. The cinematography in this film is also really stellar. I really liked the look of this film, and I loved the feel of it. The tone in particular was really gruesome, violent, and also a little bit kind of, I don't want to say goofy, but there was something absurd about some of the stuff that was going on, and it worked perfectly fine for this film. I also really love the main villain of the story, which is this German played by Pilou Asbaek, who does an excellent job of just being this really kind of hammy and over-the-top villain, but is extremely entertaining. He was the only character that I actually really liked, because all the other characters are so bland, but this performance was so energetic and fun that it made me extremely invested in our villain, and I really did enjoy that. I think it's also really cool to think of this movie as it could have been, because this was initially going to be a Cloverfield film, but eventually they decided not to make it one. But I could definitely see this being tied into the Cloverfield franchise for, you know, little instances. Like, I love the setup that they have here, and I think probably what would happen is we would have an extended third act or something, things would be reshot, and then we would have some sort of Cloverfield type monster at the end. But I could definitely see it working in the Cloverfield universe, and I think the idea of it being set in World War II would have been extremely interesting. Overall, though, guys, I think this is a really entertaining movie. I think it has its flaws with its characters not being that interesting, in particular our main character, who's just kind of bland, but the performances are still really stellar. The villain in particular is great and hammy, and the violence and the feel of the film, also the score, I think is really, really good. It's kind of understated, but there was a lot of times during the film where it really got my blood pumping. This was a really fun film. I'm finally glad I sat down and watched this. I think it could have worked as a Cloverfield film, but I think it also works as its own film. So anyway, guys, with all that said, I'm going to give Overlord a 7 out of 10. Well, guys, I want to thank you guys for watching, and thank you for 3 years here on YouTube. I hope to have many more years on YouTube doing reviews for you guys. This has been extremely fun, and here's to more reviews in the future. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next review.